So again, welcome Team Building Tuesday, guys. Don Martin, and today we're going to talk about topics on what to do when you're showing a plan. Next week, we're going to talk about the art of booking the appointments. But tonight, we're going to talk about how to make your appointments most effective in two primary strategies. So infinitely and most importantly, we're looking for, number one, effective meetings. We want to make sure our meetings are as effective as humanly possible when we book them, because you guys know sometimes you get in a role, you can book a lot of appointments, and other times, you know how it is, sometimes it feels like you're getting some no's, or people are saying, I got to check my schedule, I'll get back to you, or whatever it might happen. So you want to make sure when you're doing your meetings, they're as effective as possible. So the two aspects we're going to talk about in terms of effective business presentations. Number one, first and foremost, we're going to talk about what you need to do before you present. There are some things you have to do. Let's call it the prerequisites of showing the plan. Let's call them that. The prerequisite of showing the plan. There's a prerequisite. There's a prerequisite that not that they need to have, but that you need to do with them. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're going to talk about how to make that meeting most effective by having and making sure you have a third party. So let's first talk about number one. What is your prerequisite before you show the plan? What's the most important thing? A lot of people think pre-qualifying, or that's not. In fact, I call pre-qualifying pre-judging. I don't do it, right? Because you never know who's going to be right and who's going to be wrong. And you can't play God and decide who's going to be right and who's going to be wrong, who's going to be interested and who's going to be not. But there's one thing you need to do if you want to have the most effective presentation possible. And that is this. Before you start presenting, right, the business plan, before you start presenting the business plan, right, you need to build rapport. You have to build rapport before you actually get into the business plan numbers. You need to build rapport, okay? So that being said, right, give me 1 second. I have somebody that's trying to get on. Let me just make sure they are good. 1 second. Sorry. I just got somebody that's trying to get on. Make sure they can get on. A new person. All right, they're good. All right, cool. So nonetheless, guys, that's what you need to do. So, and let me just talk about that, building rapport. If you were just to get on, and this is one of the reasons, if you guys have been paying attention to like Elizabeth Weber and some other leaders, they're talking about when they do presentations, they do part one and part two. Now, let me explain to you why they do that. It's not because they want to split the plan up. It's because they want to make sure that the first time you're connecting or talking to somebody, you build rapport first before you start presenting something to them from a business standpoint. Now, I will tell you guys, I have done this for my entire career. And if those of you have been around a long time, you can remember a term that I used to call rapport meetings, right? So when I first meet someone, now I am of the school of Frank Kiefer, where he says, I don't really show them anything until I can show them everything. Right, Darwin? Right? And that's us. And because I don't want to start a presentation and stop halfway and not finish it, because people like me, they need to see it, and you'll never get me back on if you shortchange me, right? However, if we're building rapport, that's a whole nother story. So that's just my personality is I always want to treat people the way that I want to be treated, right? And I would not be happy if someone stopped midstream in a presentation and said, oh, we have to get back together later. So, and it's been effective for me, and we have one of the most fastest growing teams still at this moment, right, across the company because of how we do it. But there's an important aspect here, guys, and that is this. No matter what, you have to build rapport first. So when you're building rapport, it's very simple. Rapport means you're just showing them that you're a real person and you're not just there to sell them, but you want to build a little bit of a relationship. Now, there is a very simple way. And then once you build rapport, you know how the movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come, right? In our business, if you build it, they will listen. It's called rapport. But if you don't build a rapport first, they're going to halfway pay attention to your presentation, and all they're going to feel is you're trying to get something from them, right? And because you don't have any rapport, they don't have any trust or rapport with you. So building rapport is about starting to build a relationship, creating some dialogue.
Give me my phone.
Yeah.
Give me my phone.
1 second.
Do you have it so we can hear you?
Where are we at? Hold on. Guys, make sure that everybody has their muted right now.
Give me my phone. I told you.
Okay, got it. So anyway, sorry about that. So when you're sitting down with someone for the first time, especially if they're on a Zoom, you need to build some rapport so people can connect and communicate, right? So again, before I show the business plan, now you might be able to be a master of creating instant rapport. And when you get really good at this, it could take you 3 to 5 minutes to create some rapport, and you can get into the presentation, get through it. But it's so important that you take the time to create rapport before you show the plan, because if you don't have that rapport with people before you show the plan, they ain't going to pay attention. They're not going to pay attention. And then if they end up getting the business, guess what they'll do? They'll just start pitching people without creating that little bit of rapport, and they won't get the results that they want and wonder why it's not. So building rapport is simply this, couple ideas. Number one, ask them. The easiest way to do it is with the form method. Form: family, occupation, recreation, money. So hey, before we get started, I got a visitor. Yes.
Can you buy me these horses because they're toys?
Can I buy her these horses? Yeah, you want a horse?
Yeah, I would like the cupcake zebra.
All right, go show mommy.
And that horse.
All right.
Every little girl wants a horse at some time in their life.
She's got horses here already. All right, all right, go show mommy. Go show mommy.
The horses are toys.
Oh, they're horse toys. I see. Okay, go show mama. Love you. So anyway, the first and easiest way to create rapport is just to create trust in a relationship and a dialogue and a communicative thing. So without rapport, do not present, because they're not going to pay attention, and it's not going to be. So rapport means they are beginning to get comfortable with you. You get them to laugh. You get them to smile. You get them to, you see that you're a real person. You get them know that you're there. You're genuinely, here's the best way. You're genuinely interested in them. That's how you create rapport. You show genuine interest in them so you can find out if there's a way that you can help them with this business, or just be a good person. Maybe a product to help them, or just be a good person. Just have a good relationship. So the first way to build rapport, right, is to sit down and say, hey, before we get started, I want to get a chance to know you, get you to know me just a little bit. Let's just talk for a few minutes. And you use the form, for F-O-R-M, not for F-O-U-R, but form, F-O-R-M, family, occupation, and recreation, which always ends up leading to money, okay? Right? It always ends up leading to money. So before we get started, just want to get to tell me about yourself. Little background. What do you do? Are you married? Do you have kids? How old are they? What do you guys like to do for fun? Or, recreate. You see family. What do you do for a living? What do you guys like to do for fun? Recreation, all those type of things. Awesome. And you don't have to bring up the money part. That always comes up. It automatically comes up. Would you like to do those things more? Great. Well, why don't you do those things more? Well, I have to work. I don't have the money. So after you go through all this, the family, the occupation, the recreation, when you get down to it, would you like to do those things? Especially when you get to recreation. Would you like to do those things more? Boom. Instantly, you have that process in place. Money and family, occupation, recreation. And then would you like to do that more? It always leads to money. It always leads to, or time. It might not be money. It could be, they could need time, right? But you get the idea. So it could be form or it could be fort with a T, because they just want the time, but they have the money. It's one of the two. And that's really important moving forward. So that's the easiest way to create the rapport, guys. Show that you care, though. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the most important thing about our business is those of us that are builders, we always make sure people realize, hey, we care about you. We want to help you. We're going to make it whether you do this or not, but we want to be able to help you. If this is a great fit for you, we can really do some things together, but we're not here to convince you to do something that you don't want to do. And most importantly, we want to have fun today. We want to learn something about you. We want you to learn something about us, and moving forward, worst case scenario, we each have a new friend and a new acquaintance in a new area, right? That's a great way. And then another way to create rapport is tell some jokes. Be lighthearted, have fun. That's the most important thing, guys. Just have fun the whole stinking time you're presenting. Joke around with yourself, joke around with other people. If you're laughing, JR always says, hey, if you get people laughing, they can't get mad at you. You know what I mean? If you get people laughing, so, have fun with the whole process. But this is a reason why they're doing those things. I will tell you, time always tells the truth. And I wholeheartedly believe that doing a rapport meeting up front, and you might be able to create instant rapport. And there's a lot of YouTube videos that you can watch on how to create instant rapport. Tons of them. In fact, one of the videos that we're going to have, I think it's in week 7 or 8, is a video on creating instant rapport. For the New Year, New You business and personal transformation campaign, for those of you on it. So just keep that in mind, but mastering the ability to build rapport with people and creating some trust, short, quick rapport, immediate rapport is a game changer. Then and only then do you want to present the business plan, okay? If you get into presentation mode before you have rapport with them, they will not pay attention, and they'll also receive it differently. They'll think you're trying to sell them. So just, understand there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I know we just met, so hey, today we were going to go through the full presentation, but what I'd like to do is let's just get a chance to know each other and make sure you even want to listen to me more, right? Yeah, you show them you're not trying to let's see if you even want to listen to me more. Let's see if I didn't be a person you'd like to even talk business with, tell me about yourself. Try another way to create instant rapport, by the way, guys, is finding a common ground. Any of you guys have ever done meetings with me? I ask questions until I find something we have in common and I jump on it. Because that's what makes us what? Relatable. It builds that instant rapport. Oh man, I know all about, one of my things is I always want to experience so many things in life. Number one, because I love to experience a lot of things. Number two is because the more things you experience, the more you have in common with other people that experience similar things. And just being successful in business is powerful. So that's it. So that's the reason, guys. Now, I will tell you, for me, when I do these meetings, I do not start the presentation unless I'm going to finish it. That's just me. That's what I've done my whole career. And by the way, for 6, 7, 8 years, I've been doing business on Zoom. A lot of the people that are teaching some things on Zoom are just starting that now. So they're learning their way. What I found my way is I love the fact where I'm going to build rapport, and I might not even get into the plan that first meeting, at all. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to build some rapport. I'm going to build a relationship, and I'm going to say, hey, the plan was to get into the presentation today, which would be great. If you can build rapport in 5 minutes, feel free. But if you're not building that rapport, say, I would just tell them, hey, I don't want to rush into that. I want to get a chance for you to know me and me to know you a little bit. I just want to make sure you want to listen to me any more than 5 or 10 minutes. I just want to see if we have some connection points here, right? And by doing that, they feel comfortable. They realize you're not trying to jump all over and try to force something down their throat and sell them on something. And you'll build that rapport, especially when you find some common ground to talk about, right? So that's the number one thing. And then it's no problem. If it takes you more than 5, 10 minutes to build that rapport, spend a little more time, and you could talk about the concepts of the business, but say, hey, we don't have time now because we spent a little time getting them to go through the whole presentation. So what I'm going to do is just give you some concepts and some a little overview of what we do. You could talk about the product broker and the history, the background of the company, 28-year-old company, 9 billion in business, over 5 billion paid out. We broker products and services, and we have a revolutionary way of generating income. What I'll show you at the next presentation we get together. I mean, keep it really simple and to the point, and do that just off the cuff. Again, once I start a presentation, I want to finish a presentation. I do not like stopping midstream, because what a lot of the feedback I'm hearing from a lot of people that are doing that is people are not showing up to second meetings too. Once I start, I'm finishing. That's just me. Again, there's nothing wrong with what other people are doing, right? I'm just telling you from my experiences and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. I'm never going to fix what's not broken in my world. You know what I'm saying? I've made those mistakes. Maleva knows, and some other people know. I made the mistakes. Oh, well, maybe they're right. Listen, I know it works, and it's been working for too long. And we know you build rapport, and then you show the whole thing. Again, nothing will ever change. I don't show them anything until you show them everything, and because you only have one shot sometimes to get someone's attention, especially good ones. And I don't want to have to worry about them having to show up to 2 or 3 or whatever meetings and stuff. So just keep that in mind. So that's it. Number one, building rapport. Number two, and there's a lot of ways to do that. Google some of those ways, but remember, before you show up, just ask yourself, am I building a relationship? Do I have some rapport? Are they starting to like me a little bit? That's where when you feel like, oh, you're starting to like me a little bit. Okay, great. Now you have some rapport. And at that point in time, you can decide, do you want to share the whole thing then, or book another meeting to get with them? Ask them, would you prefer to take the next 45 minutes and go through this whole thing, or we're a little late on time, or you can just say, hey, I only had an hour set here. We're already 20 minutes into this. I don't want to shortchange this presentation. I could give you a little history and background, but let's get back together tomorrow, or maybe later on, tomorrow or the next day, and we'll go through the presentation itself. Another thing that you'll notice, by the way, guys, is this, and this is very powerful, especially if there's someone in your team that brings them. The first time you talk to somebody ever, there's always a hesitation. But just by talking, that's why it's important to use to talk to somebody on a phone to help confirm and build a little rapport there. So when you get with them on a Zoom, this is the second time they're talking to you. The second time someone talks to someone, their confidence and comfort with that person exponentially goes up. It exponentially goes up. So keep that in mind going forward. One of the things that helps build rapport, by the way, is what you do, not only in person, but on your social media. Are you positive? Are you a whiny baby crybaby? Are you, do you put negative stuff on there? Do you stay positive on there? Are you putting, dumb stuff on there that people don't want to be around negative, disillusioned, whining crybabies? People don't want to be around people, even if you don't like what happened in the election, or you loved what happened in the election, or whatever. People don't like divisiveness either, right? Be a good person and be positive. Entrepreneur, successful. Let me tell you something. I guarantee you, we all have problems. We all have disappointments. We all have frustrations. I'll make a deal with you. I won't tell you mine, and you don't tell me yours. How about that? Right? Because guess what? It's not that I don't want to help you through things or hear it. All I want to do is I want you to know that a prospect and a partner does not want to be burdened with someone else's problems when they have their own. And people want to be in business with people that are inspiring, that are forward-looking, that see the silver lining on the black clouds that come along, right? So this is a very important aspect to have in life. And I am talking to everybody right now, everybody, including myself, because I'll get sucked into it. I'm not picking on anybody, by the way. I'll get sucked in and get fired up on things that I believe in, and punch people in the mouth on social media or whatever, and then be like, oh man, what the heck did I do that for, right? Because people want to be in business with positive, forward-looking people that know where they're going, and so take that for what it's worth. Again, I'm just as guilty as anybody, so I'm not picking on anybody. Listen, what's good about tonight is I'm disciplining myself, and you're overhearing. You know what I'm saying? right? I'm telling things to myself that I have to remind myself, and you're just overhearing. I'm not pointing this towards anybody. I'm pointing it to me. I just hope you're overhearing it and you learn the lesson that I'm teaching myself, okay? So anyway, now let's talk about so that's all about rapport. Build your rapport. Build your rapport. Listen, here's a question. Are you a person, this is how you can answer a rapport. Do you have a rapport? Are you a person that people can't wait to be in business with? Are you a person that people enjoy to have conversations with? Are you the type of person that people would love to have a beer with, or a glass of wine with, or a coffee with? That is how you build rapport. Research people and see what they do. But that's more important than the presentation. That's more important than the presentation. I did a topic this week on our New Year, New You transformation campaign, and I said this, and this is what goes and relates to building rapport. I said, too often people think that people need to believe what you say for them to get into business, and nothing can be further from the truth. People don't have to believe what you say. They just have to believe that you believe what you say. They don't have to believe what you say. They just have to believe that you believe what you say, meaning you have posture, you have confidence, you have direction. Too often we try to sell people, convince people that what we're saying is true. You don't have to do that. You just need them to believe that you believe what you say. And once they know that you believe what you say, they'll come in with blind faith because you have that rapport, and then they'll hope that they can have the same belief level that you do as they start building the business. And that's what building rapport is all about. Do they believe that you believe what you're saying? They don't have to believe what you're saying. They just have to believe that you believe what you're saying, and they'll follow you. All right. It's so good. All right. So second part is, so that's it. Build rapport. If it takes you 5 minutes, but just pay attention to that and do it. Now, the second thing is going to help make sure that you don't do this too short. Right. And that is when you're showing the plan, you want to make the plan most effective. Every single time you show the plan, guys, ladies and gentlemen, every single time you show the plan, unanimously, you have to have a third party on with you. JR still does not show the plan by himself. Now, that doesn't mean they have to be senior partner third parties. They could be people that are your partners. But 2-1 franchise owners have to be on every presentation. Right? Every single time. Why? Because you're going to have, first of all, it shows credibility. It shows credibility. That's number one. So if I'm going to do a Zoom, for example, and I'm going to show Miriam the plan. By the way, a lot of you guys think back, you'll notice that almost every single one of you saw the plan with more than one person. If you think back, right? Think back. Miriam, you saw it in person, but it was me and Steve. Gina, you saw it the first time, and there was several of us, me, Bob, right? Almost, I think Jennifer, the first time you saw it, was both Steve and I on a Zoom. Most of you probably saw this with a third party. If you didn't, there's something that was missing, and that's this. When you see the plan, when there's a third party involved, two things happen, or many things happen. Number one, it brings extra credibility because it's not just crazy you that believe in what you're talking about. There's two of you. So now it's like, wait a minute, it's not just Maleva. I've known her my whole life. She's crazy, but in all good ways. Right? But she's got Gina with her, and Gina's just as ambitious about this as possible. They both believe in this. I got to be, listen, how are both of them seeing this? I need to make sure I'm not missing something. It's not just one person, it's two. That's the first thing. It brings infinite credibility. The second thing it does is it shows that person that if they come on board, they never will have to be alone. Good goodness. How important is that? So vitally important. It shows them that they'll never have to be alone. And they'll have support. And you want to point that out. By the way, what you probably don't notice is when people get started in this business, look, we're never by ourselves. We always have somebody to back us up. And we can do that with each other on the team here. That's the second thing. They see they'll never be alone. And here's the best part about this business, you can tell them. You don't have to know everything. You just have to have somebody that's along with for the ride with you. We just make sure we always have someone with us, because if I don't know the answers, there's somebody else that will. That's the second thing. The third thing, and this is one of the most important ones. Now listen to this. Let me give you an example of this. The third thing is, if I'm sitting with, say, I'm showing the plan to Tina West, right? And then why are you all messaging each other and giggling at me? It's always, I can see Vina, Gina, and Maleva giggling, laughing amongst themselves, causing problems. I get it. It's all good. So
I just said to Maleva, I'm going to get in trouble for laughing. And as soon as I said that, you said that.
I'm
I'm
watching.
not laughing at you, I promise. I'm
Look,
laughing
look,
at
look.
Maleva.
Look. There you go. All right. So, no, it's all good. So, but here's another thing it does, guys. Here's another thing it does. If I want to make a point, I'm showing the plan to Tina West and me and Celeste. Celeste is my business partner, right? So Celeste is my third party. Let's just say Tina's my guest and Celeste is my third party, or Tina's a Celeste guest and I'm Celeste's third party. Here's a key. Here's a vital key. Get this, guys. This is the most important reason why this is, and you need to know how to explain this to all your people. And you need to do this every time you present. Remember this. If I want to tell Tina how great a certain aspect of the business is, for example, infinite search, 100%, no percentages, no levels, 100% flows from the bottom to the top. And you say, Tina, let me show you this. This is 2 ways you can do it. Tina, watch this, Tina. It's 100% from the bottom to the top, and everybody gets paid from the bottom to the top. Isn't that incredible? That has pressure involved in that statement, because I am pointing it to Tina. But watch this. Instead, now Tina's still listening, and I'm presenting Tina. This is how this works. This is how this works. And then I say this, right? Hey, Celeste, how powerful is this part, right? How amazing is it that when we build and play this thing, Celeste, everybody in here, they get 100%. And it flows 100% from the bottom to the top. Isn't that the most incredible thing you've ever seen? And Celeste says, yup. Now what happens is I put my focus to Celeste, and now Tina is overhearing. And she's hearing it differently because she felt no pressure on herself, but I made the exact same point. Now, if you listen to JR do trainings, he always says, isn't that how we do it, Andrew? You know, we all work together, right, Andrew? Right? 100% from the bottom to the top. Isn't that the most incredible thing you've ever seen, Celeste? I mean, this is not one of the things that you saw up front that made you want to do this. You see what I mean? I'm focusing on the person that's with me as a third party. I'm not ignoring the person, but when I want to do something really aggressive, I focus it to my third party, and it leads it right on to the person that's watching. Does that make sense?
Hey, Don, it's Travis. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up, Travis?
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you, brother? Hey, guys,
Doing
this is
very
Travis,
well.
by the way. I was talking about Travis earlier. Travis is a professional footballer, also known as an America soccer player. And he's on the West Coast. So what's up, brother?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit. I spoke to my girlfriend. I'm trying to pitch the Mocha Tonics to my captain. Right? So you're speaking a little bit. If you were in my shoes approaching my captain about Mocha Tonics, because he was like, coffee's just not doing it for me. You know, he owns a soccer club out here. If you were in my shoes approaching my captain, how would you pitch it? For example,
I would just say, what's his name?
Craig Childs.
Hey, Craig, listen, I want to run something by you. I have a guy I want to introduce you to, right? there's some things that I'd like you to evaluate, but I also want to introduce you to a guy that I met that I think could be of huge benefit to us and the team. Not only some access to some product, but also some major benefits to the team as well. I can't get into a lot of it right now, but I'd like to get a chance to introduce you to this guy and have you evaluate a little bit of the product and kind of the things that are behind it too, just to see if we might believe it could be a fit for our team. Something like that. Just an
Pretty
evaluation.
sarcastic guy. Well, Travis, I need it now.
What do you need now?
I'm Craig in this situation.
Yep.
I need it now.
What do you mean? The energy? You need some
The
energy?
mocha tonics, because he likes his. He does like coffee, but it's not. I have actually tried the mocha tonics before training, and it does boost my. It does. It makes me more focused. I believe in the product.
So what I would do is get trial sizes for that, if you were just from a product perspective, and get trial sizes and get one Mocha Tonics trial pack and one Turn Up trial pack, and say, yo, bro, before today's practice or today's workout, try this, and before tomorrow's workout, try this, and tell me which one gives you the most energy. Remember, so that's another way I would do it. Just, hey, try this one today, this one tomorrow, and tell me which one you think's better. I'm just curious which one that we can decide to maybe recommend to the rest of the team.
All right. Thank you, Don.
Yep. You're welcome, dude. Thanks for asking, man. So anyway, guys, so yeah, I hope that helped too. That was pretty cool. That was a cool little impromptu question. But that's the number one thing. And by the way, it's all about third party, guys. So whenever you have someone that wants to evaluate, always have a third party available. Now, one more thing about third party. If you're talking to somebody that you know, right? If you're talking to somebody that you know, and you've known them for a long time, they're probably not going to pay as much attention to you as they would someone that they haven't met before. For whatever reason, familiarity breeds contempt. So having someone else come on that can be the expert from afar, we like to call it, also brings a ton of credibility as well, right? And also, if you have a third party, they're less of a chance that they'll cancel on you because they know you're their friend, you'll forgive them, and they can cancel on you a bunch of times and waste a lot of time. But they know since you're a close friend or a relative that you'll forgive them. And having a third party that helps confirm those meetings and lets them know that we're all busy helps you prevent the wasting of time or limits the amount of time that gets wasted too when you have a third party. So anybody else wants to add to this? Either of the first two things. I mean, that's pretty much I wanted to get through tonight is number one, build rapport before you share the plan and some strategies of doing it. So important. And then number two, every single time that you do the plan, make sure you have a third party. Next week, I'm going to show you the art of booking appointments that literally 100% of you will get appointments every day that you try after next week. You just need to do the work. So we'll talk about that next week. But anybody want to make anything? Anybody at all? Free.
So Don.
Free. Yes, sir.
I remember, I'll never forget this, when you and I met the first time. The fact that we couldn't talk where we were because it was so noisy actually created the second time when I really got to ask you, what do you mean by being a product broker specialist?
Right.
So you don't need to cover everything at the first pass.
Yep, exactly. And most importantly, what we did at that day was I met Steve. I liked him. We had some things in common. We have some, some personal personality, some spiritual likenesses, things like this. So we had some common ground there. But most importantly, we sensed that, hey, man, this is a cool guy. Like, I'd like to talk to him again. We built rapport. That, by the way, when you start doing professional networking, that's the number one thing. It's not about telling what you do and then telling what you do. It's like, can I build a little bit of rapport with these people fast so they want to talk to me again, right? And that's what we did. We built rapport first, and then it was 2 or 3. I think we didn't go through the business until the third time we met.
Third time.
Yep. We built rapport first, and that's the way to do it, guys. Build a rapport, build a relationship first. the plan will you'll get to there, right? But don't spend so much time like, oh, well, I don't know who they are. I haven't met their kids yet, and I haven't met their parents yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just have to have some rapport, Gina. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit, just enough that way you can, and then you can, go further along, right? I've had people like go way far. Oh, I'm just building the rapport. I'm just planting the seeds and all the different things that people say, but they're taking forever. No, I mean, just do a little bit. Just learn how to build instant rapport, and then you can go from there. So
I remember the first time that when Don came to Virginia to mentor me and to show me how to show the plan, and he spent days with me. And we had like back-to-back meetings. And I remember we met with these people, and we're in the coffee shop, and they come in, and I'm like, we're going to show them the plan. Like, in my mind, that's what we're here to do, right? And so Don starts talking to them, and he looks, I don't know what, one of them had to get up to go do something. The other one's like, oh, well, I'm going to go. I think they took a phone call, and the other one's like, well, I'm going to go run to the bathroom while she's doing that. And Don looked at me. He's like, you know that we're not showing them the plan today, right? And I'm like, he's like, it's just not the right time. He's like, this is just going to be, let's get to know them more. And I was like, what? We're not showing them the plan. What do you mean? But it was the best thing ever. And I learned something really valuable from him that day. And I do a lot of these rapport meetings, or in the motives world, we call these discovery meetings, right? Because we're meeting with, right, Maleva? Because we just want to get to know people and what their goals are. And it's just, and I was even talking to Geneva about this today, just about having the conversation, like JR calls it doing the dance, right? So you just want to have conversation and try and jot things down that stick out to you so that you can circle back around to those things later, things that apply to this business and how we can help them. And, Lisa always has taught me, like, write down, if they mention their husband's name, write it down. If they talk about their kids, write their kids' names down, because you really want to remember and really be genuinely invested in them and what they're saying. And so there's a lot of times now where if I'm reconnecting with somebody that I haven't talked to in 20 years, I'm not going to just show them the plan when we jump on Zoom the first time. Like, I say, hey, let's jump on a Zoom and have coffee. It's so much easier with technology to do that. But you jump on, you have coffee, get to catch up on life, and then what you do for a living is going to come up in the conversation. It's especially for us, because this is a lifestyle business. This is what we do. So when it comes up, it's easy then to say, hey, by the way, we can, and Don, if you just took a picture and my mouth is wide open while I'm talking, you better not post that, I'm saying, because I just heard the click. So it's really, really valuable, because
stay at the line.
Because you don't want people to, because we have to be different than anything else. Like, when people meet with us and they realize, like, oh, wow, they really are genuinely interested in us. They're not used to that. They're used to somebody always wanting something from them. And we have to be different. So those rapport meetings are really, really important. And there's sometimes where some of our newer business partners will tell you that I'll say, let's just, jump on a Zoom with them and let's just talk to them about them. Like, we did that with Jamila a couple of times with some people, and just feel them out and see where they're at, and, what are their goals and what are their business. If they already have a business, especially if they already have a business, you want to talk to them about what their goals are. Maybe they're struggling right now. You don't know, with COVID, and just figure out how you can come up with some type of solution to help them. That's really what it's all about. So.
And Gina, just to kind of piggyback a little bit on what you're saying, and especially right now in the beauty industry, we have had so many phone calls and so many Zooms lately with people in the beauty industry. But the biggest thing is this: what they're expecting is they're expecting you to be a sales rep. That's what they're expecting. So when I come back to, look, I'm not a rep, I'm not a sales rep, I'm a solutionist. What I'm here to do is simply find a solution to get you through. So let's chat and see where I can be of help to you. Okay, so I just turned that around. They're no longer waiting for me to say, you need to buy this, or we have these amazing cosmeceutically graded, clinically tested. They're not waiting for that. What they're waiting for is what are you wanting me to buy? Well, I simply want to bring a solution to you. So Dawn, what you're saying about really talking and listening, I know it's been really hard on my team because they're doing the same thing to me. They're like, wait, what do you mean? Why are we not talking about the business? Because I don't know what they need.
What they need.
Until I find out what they need, that's when right, Maleva? We have to be solutionists at this point versus just trying to sell them on our business. Our business, listen, I came into this business, I did not want this business. Every time Don brought it up, it takes a lot to shut Don Martin down, but I would do my best to shut him down because I had no, I didn't have any time apart. I didn't want anything up to do with it. But I'm telling you, once we offer solutions, and that's what Dawn and Lisa kept doing, is offering me solutions. Literally, you guys, they picked me up out of a fetal position at one point. And that's a whole different story. But really, they offered me solutions in my business. And so when you guys are out there, because I get a call from a lot of you guys all during the week about, hey, we've got a spa or a salon or an esthetician. Listen, approach it one way. If I can tell you this might save a phone call. Approach it one way and just approach as a solutionist. Find out what they're needing, and then we'll go in and talk. And
That's great. So good.
Yeah, on that point, we call them like beauty roundtables. We were just like, listen, it's a bunch of beauty professionals hopping on just to discuss what's going on and see how we can help. Actually, one of our partners set up a bunch of these, and we didn't go in with any expectation of showing the plan because we had no idea what they needed. Just like Vina said, and what Gina was talking about, like, we can't show the plan and mold it to someone's needs until we know like where they're at, what's going on in their life, and build some of that rapport, so that even if I'm coming on as a third party and let's say Miriam invites me on to help, color commentate on her plan, I'll ask like, okay, who is this person? Where did you meet them? Give me a little down low, and then we'll chit chat for like even the first 5 to 10 minutes, because I want to find out what's going on in their life. Because if someone, if Miriam tells me, hey, she's like really unhappy at her job, when I'm color commentating, I'm going to talk about how, I was miserable when I was a waitress. I was looking for ways to get out, and I saw this and like give that touch of it, because it's going to be that common ground like Don talked about with the person that we're discussing. If it's a beauty professional, as we're going through the product brokerage model, I'm going to talk about taking that pain and that pressure and that burden of having to research and find the next best thing constantly off of beauty professional shoulders, because we have the brokerage model that's always the right ingredients, right combinations, right percentages. But like, you don't know how to do that dance until you know what they're about. And so that's why that is so important. And also what I love about it is just let you take a deep breath. Because sometimes I feel like when you're going to show the plan, or if you're hopping on to help show the plan for somebody else's prospect, you feel like super nervous. I got to get this thing right because I don't want to let somebody else down. When really building that rapport like lets you take that deep breath, because it lets you get to know a little bit about them, and you're going to have that spark of, oh, okay, I know where to go with this when I show the plan, and what to touch on and what to talk about and which points to like really hammer home, because I know that's going to be beneficial to them. And so this was really a great call tonight. I hope you guys got some things out of it about just really how to take a deep breath and connect with people and enjoy the process, because also when you show the plan, you're going to enjoy it that much more, because you truly know that you have a solution. And, one of our new partners, when we were talking with beauty professionals, this one woman, we're 5 calls in, and she's like, why hasn't she partnered yet? Why haven't we shown her the plan yet? And I'm like, because she's not ready. This woman is like, literally, like Vina was talking about, in a fetal position, like nothing's going right with her business. I'm not just going to be like, well, we have the solution, start your own business. Like, no, we're not even there yet. But after 5th call, she's partnering on Thursday. But it was that caring enough about people to like listen to them and bounce ideas, and even send them, like, beauty professionals are a whole little, different animal, but just like we talked about, just having that conversation and figuring out what their needs are and seeing how you can support, and really caring enough truly about people, not just the end result, but of guiding them through that process, because they'll feel that we're different without you ever having to say it, especially from someone that's coming from a direct sales background. They're going to feel that this is different. There's no pressure.
Love it.